friends, my name is Dr. Shalini Shukla, and in our last video we were discussing something about subject selection for UGC NET exam. So we were discussing that an MBA student should select MBA as their UGC NET subject or HR as UGC NET subject. So we were on the discussion that if you have a specialization of human resource management in your MBA, it means you want to pursue your career in HR, or somewhere you have decided that you want to complete your PhD in human resource management, then it would be good that if you go for HR as net subject, because it is comparatively easier than management subject. And if you have decided that you want to go for a PhD in marketing, in strategy, in operational research, in production, in statistics, in some other subject of management, then it is advisable that you should opt management as your subject in UGC NET exam. See, however, there are certain points which you need to consider before opting subject like management or HR. The one that is very important is your specialization in MBA. See, those students who have opted labor, welfare, or HRM as their specialization in MBA, they have the two choices. They can give their UGC NET in MBA in HR as well as in management. Whereas the student who have not opted HR as their specialization in MBA degree, it is advisable or it is better for them to go for management as a subject in UGC NET. Because even though if you want to do your PhD in HR, then to use specialization was not HR in MBA. So it is advisable that you can opt management as your net subject, because the students who have cleared the net in management, they can do PhD in HR as well. But the student who have cleared their net or UGC exam in HR, they cannot go for PhD in any other subject of management, right? So the first point is specialization in MBA. What was your specialization in your MBA degree? The second point is your interest area of PhD. Maybe if you have opted HR as your MBA specialization, but in some universities there is a case of dual specialization. So if you do not want to pursue your PhD in HR, then it is better to go for management as the subject. Then another important point is the university or the institute you are targeting for your PhD degree, right? In some institute, HR subject is valid as to get entry into management department, but in few universities they simply entertain management JRF or management net qualified. They do not entertain HR JRF or HR net qualified candidates, as because they considered it as a subject of psychology, right? And another important point which you need to consider is graduation background. Like, what was your graduation background? In which subject you have completed your graduation? See, if you have the graduation background of commerce or net or management, then it is good that if you opt management as your subject in UGC NET, right? Another important point is your knowledge and expertise in the subject. Though you may have HR as your specialization, but you are saying that no, I'm good in accounting, I'm good in finance, I'm good in statistics, then it is advisable that you should go for management as a UGC NET exam, because management has a broad application, right? In HR, you concise yourself into HR domain only. So sometimes students of MBA get very much depressed about the subject selection, that which subject they should opt, whether they should opt for management as a core subject of NET or they should opt for HR. So it is my advice for those students, if you have decided that you want to pursue your PhD in HR, then better go for HR as a subject. But if you have decided that you want to pursue a PhD in some other subject or other subject than HR, then better go for management. Although management has a broad application, so if you have good knowledge of statistics, good knowledge of finance, good knowledge of marketing, good knowledge of production, then management would be the better option for you all. See, now the third another question which generally student ask commerce, whether they should use commerce as a subject in UGC NET, even though you have MBA. So my advice would be, you should not go for commerce as a subject in UGC NET exam if you do not have MCOM as your degree, right? If you have MCOM, then you can opt commerce, no problem at all. But if you have MBA, although you may have your MBA under the faculty of commerce, but you should not go for commerce, because in future it is not going to benefit you whether you qualified your NET in commerce or not, because at the time of appointment of the teacher or the faculty, a preference is given to commerce background student while selection. So commerce is little bit bad choice among all for MBA student. But if you're some student say that okay, I'll qualify NET in commerce and then I'll go for MCOM, then that may be another option. But as an MBA student, I think I have cleared all the point that whether you should opt for HR as a subject, whether you should go for management as a subject. So in the next video, we will be discussing about the course content, what is the content of the syllabus, and how do we proceed with the subject guidance. That's all for my present video. Thank you, student. Best of luck.